Good afternoon and welcome. And again, offload, beautiful ball, back inside of Martin. He beats one, beats two. Goes to Doak, he dances round, long ball, goes across to Buckman, puts it on the toe. He kicked through, followed through, regathered. It's catch, drop, scrum. Scored the try. And as the flags go up, picks up, hits the foot race, he's ahead of Barber. Will he get there? I think he got there. Now that'll be full time.
Hello and welcome to the Full 80. I'm your host, Ben Dobbin, and I'm joined by the most illustrious panel in the NRL. Greg Jacko Lyons, the Marketing and Promotions Manager for the Ipswich Jets. Jason Connor, a veteran halfback and captain and junior coaching and development officer with the Brothers Rugby League Club in Ipswich. Ben Walker is a former Bronco and he's the co-senior first grade coach with his brother Shane for the Luxury Paints Ipswich Jets. And finally, this bloke, he never sleeps, the chief league writer for the Courier Mail, Peter Bomber-Badell. Hey, good afternoon, men. Before we get into some comments about this week's game, let's take a look at the weekend scores. Saturday's game, the PNG Hunters down the Ipswich Jets in PNG, 40-22. Ben Walker, a very tough afternoon in PNG.
Yeah, it was a tough afternoon, mate, but the score really didn't indicate what the quality of the game was and how close it was. We were 6 points behind with 5 minutes to go and they scored a couple of late tries, but a great experience for the guys and we'll be a lot better for that run, that's for sure.
What about the dressing sheds? What are they like, Benny?
Well, we don't have dressing sheds, mate. We get dressed at the resort, on the bus, real old school. Come out, do your warm-up and play at half-time out in the middle, and that's it. Back on the bus and back to the resort. So it's a different experience for everyone and, yeah, as I say, real old school footy, that's for sure.
Ben, the Hunters at the start were beaten by us. With some good work from the boys, basically Marmon and Brendan. Then they seemed to come back, and just our blokes looked a bit tired. Was the heat an issue, or?
It may have been. Possession was more the issue, I think, in the second half. We were up 20-6, just before half time, and they had a run of the ball in the second half and scored a few tries. But fatigue with defending the second half was probably more the catalyst.
Yeah.
The Redcliffe Dolphins, they were too good for the Burleigh Bears, 38-16. Peter Badell, are they calling for a new coach in Redcliffe?
Well, they might be in about 3 weeks, Dobbo. Look, I think for both sides, I mean, they were considered top 4, top 5 material, both teams. Burleigh recruitment was great in the off-season. Redcliffe, with their financial clout and their resources, they've always been a competition powerhouse. So for those sides to be in the bottom half of the competition, not acceptable. I think Troy Lindsay's under major pressure.
Come on, give us who's going to go there.
Well, it could be Anthony Griffin.
Really?
He's looking for a job. But maybe Ben Walker. He's a man in demand. But look, I think Wayne Went will be upping the dollar to get him. But look, I think with Redcliffe, I mean, to be third last for a team with their resources and their gravitas in the competition, it's just not good enough. So Troy Lindsay will be under pressure. This game, I mean, 38-16, Redcliffe, it was a consolation victory, really. They'll be looking to rebuild for next season, and let's hope they can, because they are a force to be reckoned with when they're on song. Yeah,
the East Tigers, they move into second place. They defeated the CQ Capras 34-12. Jacko, an expected result?
It was expected, but Capras, their probably season was over from round one. They haven't really fired at all, which is surprising because they can be a relatively good team. But East just too strong. But once again, East can be beaten. We've proven that, but it took a few injuries for that to happen. But, they can still be beaten, but just outplayed the Capras on the day. Yeah,
they had a tough season, the Capras. The Mackay Cutters, they just got in over the sunny coast, 28-10. Northern Pride, well, they were too good for South Logan Magpies, 30-8. Pete, you've got some mail on the Pride?
Yeah, some interesting news, Dobbo, and a real blow for the side. Ben Spina, who's been outstanding for them in the front row this year, he's actually hurt his hand in a work accident, believe it or not. So they think he could miss the season, which would just be a massive blow. They've already lost one front rower. They're now without their other front rower. So while they'll finish with the minor premiership way out in front, come into the finals without their front row, their engine room, that's the grunt of the Pride. That's a big hurdle for Jason Demetrio to overcome.
He would be having sleepless nights, thank God. Sunday's game, it was a battle of the birds. The Wynnum Manly Seagulls defeated the Tweed Head Seagulls with a resounding win, 32-4. Jace, a surprise victory. Tweed have been very good this year.
Yeah, Tweed have been good. Last couple of weeks, I think they've knocked off a couple of top 4 sides. Wynnum played up-tempo game. I think led from Granville at the front. Obviously, he's been back from the Broncos since they've had a new half 5'8" combination. So they've had a lot of changes, but I think Wynnum, moving into the forward, they've got momentum. I think they'll be a threat.
So you're saying they're a title chance?
They are a title chance.
You've heard it here first. The local results from the Ipswich Rugby League A-grade competition, well, this was a shock. Brothers 30 defeated the Fastlefern Bombers 14. West End, they were 38, defeated the Swifts 20. And Norse 31 defeated Goodner 18. Really, brothers, minor premiership, you're the captain and the halfback. You must be happy with that result.
Happy with the result. I don't think it was a shock result, Dobbo. I think Fastlefern are moving. They've come from
6 wins in a row.
Six wins in a row, yeah. Nums, who missed the flight for the Jets on the weekend, was there on the sideline, so I'm glad he didn't play. What was the go with that?
Yeah, what happened there? Namani Valakapa, for everybody that is not aware, is the centre for the Ipswich Jets. He never made it to PNG, which, in that alone, would be a reason why you got beaten.
It's not the reason, but it's it obviously adds to it. But Namani's got he's a Fijian national, so he was unable to make the flight to PNG. He could have gone to PNG, but he wouldn't have been allowed back into the country. So we figured it was more important to have him at semi-final time than PNG. And Fastlefern were obviously pretty keen for him to play against Brothers on the weekend, seeing that he was here just twiddling his thumbs. But you're pretty lucky he didn't play.
If we have a look at the ladder now in the Intrust Super Cup, the Northern Pride, they win the minor premiership on 40. East Tigers currently in second place on 33. The Wynnum Manly Seagulls on 32. And this is where it gets congested. The Tweed Head Seagulls on 31 and the mighty Ipswich Jets, they're on 30. The PNG Hunters on 29, and that will make it very, very difficult this weekend with the Hunters and the Wynnum Manly. So it's a must-win. You guys get the bye, so you automatically get 2 points.
Yep.
But we don't need PNG beating Wynnum this weekend.
No, we don't. But Wynnum are the only team outside of the Northern Pride that are guaranteed at the top 5 position. So, this game's pretty important for everyone else. Southern death for everybody. This is the full 80, and still to come on the show, an interview with Broncos front rower Ben Hannet, and we take a look at next weekend's teams. Stay tuned with us. Welcome back to the full 80. Ben Hannet is a Gold Coast boy who went on to be an Australian professional rugby league player for the Brisbane Broncos. He's also represented his state at state of origin level, and on the international level, he has played front row for Australia. He previously played for the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs and the Sydney Roosters. He was at an Ipswich Jets game recently, and we caught up with him.
So Ben, thanks for joining us today. Firstly, being here at the Jets, what is it like to see the younger kids sort of come out, grow as players and sort of better their skill to try and get into the NRL?
Yeah, it's great to see the local talent and the young kids coming through, and to be able to see the players being developed in their own towns, country towns, some places, and obviously Ipswich is a lot bigger than that. It's a city, so it's fantastic to see them bringing them up and through, and then seeing opportunities where they're linked to the Broncos, and they keep improving their skills and working their way through their ranks. They can one day be wearing a Broncos jersey.
So, Ben, obviously you know that the Jets have theme days like Kim Walters and Women's in League, which you were a part of last week. What do you think those days are for the community? Do you think they're a benefit to the community?
I think it brings the community together. I think it's something that these sort of days help to not only raise money for different charities and for the junior rugby league out here and the senior rugby league, but also what it does is it keeps the community connected with one another. So not only do they enjoy watching a good game of footy, they get to catch up with people they don't normally get to catch up with, and also bond in something that's special to their local community. And I think last week with the Women in League round, seeing so many women in here really having a good time and also seeing a bit of footy, I think obviously we won. It was a great day of footy, but the most thing they would have probably got out of spending time with the girls and catching up with old friends, and it was a great cause.
So compared to 20 years ago, what do you think the women's involvement with league is now compared to back then?
I think women will always be heavily involved in league. I look at what my mum did for me when I was coming through. My mum, we were dirt poor growing up, so whenever I made a team, my mum would be out with me selling muffins to we've sell hundreds of them to be able to afford the uniform, to afford the bus fare to go to that local carnival, whatever it was. So I see my wife now with my kids, they're getting them ready for footy and getting them ready to go watch me play footy. They're the backbone of this game. They're the ones that run the tuck shops, the canteens, the uniform shops, and make sure everything runs properly, because it was just men running the game would be a pretty ordinary game.
So Origin's just around the corner, and Andrew Johns has said for the last 9 years that the Blues are going to win this year. What's your take on that, and do you think that Queensland will win again?
I think they've got as much chance as they have every other year. It's 17 players take the field, and 17 players, if they play to the best of their ability, they've got the opportunity. It's up to in their hands to win the game, and that's one thing that Mal's made it very clear to all Queensland players, that every time we take that field, that it's us 17 collectively that have the say in the outcome. And if we're willing to do the work and play together, then we'll get the results. And it's no different for the Blues. It's just the Queensland team at the moment, been together for such a long period of time, and we know how the system works, and we'll grind out to the 79th minute and we'll win it in the 80th if that's what needs to be. So that's the difference between the two.
So obviously the Broncos have had a bit of a slump over the last 4 weeks, except for obviously last night. What do you think is going wrong in the Broncos camp right now?
I just think we're letting ourselves down. I think little errors in the game and little individual meltdowns were costing the team. And unfortunately, no matter how good you are, if you keep making silly errors in the game or having a low completion rate, you're not going to win games. And that's something that the good thing is that we can fix what we're doing wrong. It's not teams are beating us because they're better than us. It's that we're making mistakes. That's something that we can address every week, and that's something we'll continue to do. And hopefully we can build, especially over this Origin period with players out, that we'll be a stronger team. So once Origin finishes, we'll be ready for the back end of the season.
Okay, Ben. Last question. East vs Jets today. What do you think?
I'm excited. No, obviously I played last week, and I love the brand of footy that the Jets plays. I don't know if East have done their homework that well on us, but I think if we can hold the ball and have a high completion rate, the Jets will go fantastic. I think we'll get the win, but the only downfall is if we do have a low completion rate with the style of footy play, it will be hard to hold the East out, because the Tigers are a good side. They're going really well this year. But I have all the faith in the Jets boys. They're confident, they back themselves, and that's what being the Jets all about.
Yes, welcome back to the Full 80. And this week on the Talking Point, we're going to talk about the second-tier competition, which is the Intra Super Cup. Obviously, gentlemen, that the under-20s has now been bumped. It's been a 5-year experiment that probably has achieved limited success. The Intra Super Cup, is it a bona fide second-tier competition, and is it a reserve grade to the NRL?
Well, it is bona fide second tier, and without a doubt, the Queensland Cup's a lot stronger competition than the New South Wales Cup, as it seems. But with the 20s system now being moved, and the direct pathway to the NRL looks like it's going to come from the Queensland Cup or the Intra Super Cup, I think it's a great thing for the game, and it means that young kids can stay at home and learn their craft as 17, 18-year-olds, rather than moving to the big smoke when they're probably a little bit early for them.
How do you look at it, Jace? I mean, you've played at all those levels. Do you see that it is like a stepping stone to the NRL playing? If you played for North, if you played for Ipswich, that it gives you that pathways?
Yeah, exactly right, Dobbo. Like Walker said, kids get to stay home now, and moving as 17-year-old, you're still not physically right in the head or of the lights and the atmosphere. You get influenced easily, so staying at home helps because you've got parents, you've got support. Also, going to the games early, going to a 20s game, the crowd's not there. You get more crowds going to a Jets game, Papua New Guinea, Redcliffe, so you get the numbers there by the support from the local competition. So I think moving forward, people will get behind it, and I think the way forward is Queensland Cup best second tier competition. The
under-20s competition, Pete, like we talk about the under-20s competition, but the big downfall is that it's boys playing boys. You play Intra Super Cup and you see a lot of these good 20s players, their coaches don't want them to play 20s. They send them to the Intras because they're playing against men.
Yeah, the problem is, Dobbo, with the 20s, there's too big a chasm or gulf between NRL and what's expected, not only physically but mentally as a player, and the under-20s. And I think that's where the ISC can be a bridge between the NRL and the under-20s, because you've got young blokes playing against men, and it toughens them up. I mean, when you've got 20-year-olds playing against each other, we've seen some of the scores for 3 or 4 years now, like 42-40,
they can't
50.
tackle.
You know, they can't. Their defence is shoddy. and they can't sustain it. So I think you can improve the maturity of the younger player if you're putting them in an intra Super Cup system where they can work with a Rod Griffin or a guy that's 27, 28 years old and can actually teach them the ropes, or a Ben Hannet or Martin Kennedy. So I think it's the right move, absolutely.
Jacko, how do you find it? You see a lot of rugby league around the place. Do you think that the intra Super Cup is a better breeding ground for our younger talent than the under-20s?
Well, I think it is, and you've only got to look at players like Carlin, who's come up and really cemented his position in the top squad.
Sure.
So you've got guys, and you know, it's the talents of Ben and Shane to bring those guys up. But you know, is that going to happen? Because that now means they've got to now go to local games, and that's probably a problem I see about it, where the scope, you know, where Ben can turn up now and watch a couple of grades to get a bit of a handle on what's happening with some players. He's now all of a sudden, you've got to go to local games.
To Brisbane. I see you at Brisbane. So what do you do now with your under-20s at Ipswich? So is that your breeding ground for your intra Super Cup? Are you growing like a Landon Hayes who's playing in the 20s? Is there a pathway for him to come to intra Super Cup?
Yeah, there's a direct pathway from the 20s at our club to the intra Super Cup, and we've bled a number of players. And a couple of those guys have gone on to the NRL system, but effectively they go to an NRL club and then go back to the 20s again.
Yeah.
They're learning their craft when they play the intra Super Cup, and they're playing against men. Pete makes a really good point. When you're a young kid and you're playing against a man, you learn different ways of playing and avoiding contact and, you know, getting out of the way and learning your craft, but you don't learn that against kids. So, you know, if you're bringing a really good kid through to the intra Super Cup, if they can handle that, then they'll go a long way.
So what was the point? What was the actual point of this under-20s? Like, what did you think? What did you get out of it, Jace? Like,
mate, I just touch on one thing. I think a respectful too. If you get picked up as a 17-year-old and you play an NYC, automatically you think you've made it.
Yep.
And it's false. It's a false pretense for the kid. So he goes then after 2 years, he gets dropped back, goes back to the Ipswich Rugby League, and he doesn't want to play there. If he gets a crack at 20s Ipswich, then goes to intra Super Cup, he's working his way up, then NRL, he's playing against men. They get false pretense, they make NYC, they think they've made it. So.
Yeah, and you've seen that a lot of times. Only the average of 2 players per season are making it to first grade from NYC. I mean, look at the Broncos alone. I mean, it's probably a little bit different because Anthony Griffin took that grand final side through to the NRL. Pete, what's your take on it?
The thing is, Dobbo, you asked before, I mean, the initial methodology of the under-20s was to create a system where the younger players are filtering through to the NRL team and learning the same structures, the same plays of the senior team. But if you look at the percentage and the ratio of guys that have come through, it's not that great. No. So we're not seeing that flow-on effect that they had hoped for. So it's not working clearly. Changes need to be made, and perhaps by getting some of these younger blokes, we see the NRL teams, Ben, they're putting some of their better talents in Queensland Cup anyway. So if we go back and revert to that system where they're working in the Q Cup system with coaches like Ben Walker, then we're going to get better players at a younger age.
Yeah, I think we all know the answers. It's just the NRL implementing the answers. Still to come on the Full 80 is a complete wrap-up of the coming weekend's games. Stay with us, not far away. Welcome back to the Full 80, and it's time to have a look at the up-and-coming round 24 of the Intrust Super Cup. Obviously, the Ipswich Jets, they get a bye. What's the week been like? Any training?
No training at all this week, Dobbo. We're giving the boys the entire week off training. They'll do some themselves, but nothing officially, just to get over the bumps and bruises and the travel.
A massive game next weekend. Obviously, you guys go to Cairns to play the Northern Pride.
Yeah, we do, but let's get through this weekend first.
Please. Let's have a look at all the other games and really important games in this round 24 clash. The Burleigh Bears take on the South Logan Magpies, 3 p.m. at Pizzey Park. This is probably a game that really has no result on the final 5, gentlemen.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, really, they're just playing for points. Really, there's nothing really at stake. I mean, the game we'll talk about later is obviously the Wynnum game. That's the most important one in this round for the Ipswich Jets. And obviously the PNG Hunters, they're right on your money there, Ben. So I mean, 1 point behind. If they get a win there, then it really throws the race open for the final 5. So, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens there.
That's the game we want to talk about. The next game at BMD Cougar Eye Oval. That will be the Wynnum Manly Seagulls versus the PNG Hunters, and a Southern Death clash, really, and it will determine where the Jets end up. Jacko, so important. I hate to say go Wynnum, but we're all cheering for Wynnum to do over the Hunters.
Well, we are, but once again, Wynnum's in danger for us as well. But no, definitely want the Hunters to go down, because that 1 point is going to be too crucial for us.
They're really strong across the board. If Granville comes back from Brisbane, they've got Kahu, who's just been dropped back. They've got young Coombs, who's been playing a lot of footy. He was a Broncos under-20 last year. They've got talent across the board, Wynnum. Oh yeah, Wynnum are obviously going very well, and they're a well-coached team, and they've performed well all season. But God give them strength on Sunday, and hopefully they can beat the PNG Hunters. But we're all assuming that if the Hunters win, we're out of the finals. That's not the case. We're still 1 point clear, and we've got 2 games to win, and if we win those, we're guaranteed. So, whoever wins on the weekend, we'll just do our job against Northern Pride the week after that. Go the Seagulls. In other games, let's have a look at the other games for round 24 of Intrust Super Cup. We have the East Tigers playing the Tweedhead Seagulls. The Ipswich Jets have the bye. Obviously, the Wynnum Seagulls versus PNG Hunters. In Saturday's games, we're just waiting for it to come up. The Burleigh Bears take on the South Logan Magpies. The Sunny Coast versus the North Devils. The Mackay Cutters versus the Northern Pride, a battle of North Queensland. And the CQ Capras versus the Redcliffe Dolphins. Jason Connors is here with the wrap for the Ipswich Rugby League. Talk us through this round, mate. Mate, yeah, business end. Last round of the season, Norths play West End. If Norths Tigers get the result, they will finish second. Other game, Goodna and Fassifern. They're fighting out for third and fourth, so pretty much they will play each other in the minor semi, regardless of the result, and us versus Swifts. So we wrap up the minor premiership, so we'll finish first and hopefully play Norths or Goodna, more likely Norths.
With the final, it's quite a few weeks out, but A, who do you want to play, and B, who do you think will be there?
I guess Brothers as a whole, we're not really worried about anyone in the comp, but Fassifern have got momentum.
Surely you must be worried about someone.
Oh, well, Goodna are big. Goodna are big and scary, so probably not Goodna, maybe North Tigers. There you have it, not far away. Jacko, what's the special of the week at the Ipswich Rugby League Club?
Mate, I think we might do the old special if they come into the club and say, I saw the full 80, and Dobbo's handsome face.
You're going to give him a free Parmigiano?
Oh, we won't give him a free one, but what about a $3 rangeland steak on a Sunday?
A $3 rangeland steak?
Yep.
I don't know where you're getting them from, but anyway.
That's a 200% discount, by the way. He stings you at Rangeland.
Ben, what's on with the weekend with the weekend off?
We've got some junior footy with my kids, and then we'll sit back and watch the Wynnum Hunters game, I guess, on Sunday, and that'll be about it, mate. More football for the weekend. Yeah, Pete, any big stories happening in the Courier Mail?
Oh, there'll be always something, but obviously there's 2 salary cap investigations into the Broncos and the Titans, 2 Queensland teams at the moment, so there'll be something along those lines, so keep an eye out for that. But can I ask you this, Ben, just on Ipswich, and looking at your points, you've scored 5 more points this year than the Pride. You're better attacking side, but your defence, you've got the worst defensive record of the top 5. Do you think that's the last impediment to you winning the comp?
Have we?
Yes.
See, okay.
I can do my maths. I've got the calculator out.
I'll trust your word.
Can I be a statistician?
if you've
got one.
Look, we had a couple of we had 2 blowout games, I guess, where teams put more points than we normally would let in. So it may be a little bit lopsided because of that. But obviously we're a very good attacking side, and we've got no dramas with that. And if we defend well, which we have done for the last month, and it's been a real focus. If we defend well, then a lot of teams are going to struggle against our attack.
Yes, well, that's it for us for our first show of the Full 80. It's full time here from us. I hope you've enjoyed the show. A big thank you to Jacko Lyons and Ben Walker, both from the Ipswich Jets, to Jason Connor, the halfback and captain of the Brothers Rugby Leagues Club in Ipswich. Thank you very much, Chase, for coming on. And the Chief League Writer, the Bomber, Peter Bedell, thank you for being with us. To all the staff and students from USQ at Springfield, thank you very much for your support. Get behind your local team this weekend. Support the greatest game of all. I'm Ben Dobbin. Till next time, this is the Full 80. Bye for now.